Thank you for welcoming me onto your headphones. I'm Eddie reviewing Shadow in the Cloud, and this is the rollback. Happy New Year, everybody. So today y'all get a special treat. You get me all to yourselves. Don't worry, you're welcome. Now, today I'll be reviewing a movie that I was actually initially excited to watch, and I remember seeing the trailers early on, seeing them online. Shadow in the Cloud, starring Chloe Grace Moretz. Also included in the film, worth noting, is Taylor John Smith. My apologies. In this film, this is a odd mixture of it's like a World War II movie mixed with a creature feature mixed with some drama. This film's a bit of an odd duck. One of the very first releases of 2021. It was initially shown at the Toronto International Film Festival in early to mid-September. It was released, like I said, on New Year's Day. And this movie is a bit mixed, a bit of a mixed bag. So the initial premise is Chloe Grace Moretz plays a character by the name of Madame Garrett, or Madame Garrett, Mrs. Garrett, female flight officer. She's assigned to a B-2 bomber called the Fool's Errand on a top secret mission with official looking papers and a package, basically stating that wherever they're going, they need to take her along with her package. That's the most top secret of business. The crew is initially skeptical of a woman, and I used like 10 quotation marks, being a part of the air service and being with them. And from there, everything just kind of flies off the fucking wagon. This movie is, and I think the best phrase I can use, is a mixed bag. And I wanted to get into that before I really jump into, any issues with the movie. This film was written in part by a gentleman by the name of Max Landis. And if you know anything about Mr. Landis, you know that he doesn't exactly have the most glaring, the highest reputation right now. His name is Poison right now. And the issues in this film, I would argue are not solely on him. There's a lot of issues with the script overall as a whole. You can definitely tell that there were some rewrites as the film was being made. There's some storylines that are dropped and then brought back, but not really all there. The film is very, again, it's such a mixed bag. So I guess to start with a positive, Miss Moritz genuinely carries this film on her back. The first about 2/3 of the movie, we're just with her in this little gunner cockpit on the bottom of the plane. And the whole, like I said, the first and second act mainly take place with her down there and simply strict dialogue with the other characters over a radio headset. And I want to say that this could have not hampered the movie, but to me it did. And I fully understand other people, really enjoying this aspect. Personally, I like the idea of an entire film being shot in one small area. I kind of like that idea. But I didn't like it in this capacity because I felt like that could have opened the door to better storytelling throughout the movie. It felt very closed off. But, all props to Miss Moretz. She really tries to carry this film on her back, and for the most part, she succeeds. Her interactions with the other soldiers are very tense, and also she has to deal with a lot of bullshit, a lot of sexism in this movie. Not that this is one of those movies where you gotta get woke, kids. I don't think it's trying to do that. I think it's trying to send a very clear, positive message, but it gets a bit mixed up because seemingly, with the exception of the baby, every other character in this movie is an asshole. Even her somewhat love interest is a complete douche. Taylor Johnson Smith, or Walter Quaid as he's known in the movie, is a complete asshole. He leaves her. So basically what ends up happening as the movie goes on is it's discovered that Miss Garrett isn't actually a flight officer. I know, go figure. As it turns out, she's actually trying to leave an abusive home. She had an affair with Mr. Quid. She didn't know if it was love or whatnot, but inevitably she ended up getting pregnant, and she strongly believes that if she goes back with her husband, he'll end up killing her. and she didn't really see any other way out other than to forge documents and get her way onto this plane. That top secret package that we keep getting alluded to ends up being her child, the child of both her and Mr. Quaid. And again, from that point, this movie just goes way off the fucking rails all over the place, which I don't mind it being the story of a woman doing whatever she can to protect her child and get out of an abusive household. I'm not against that story, but it felt somewhat disingenuous. It felt weird and kind of tossed in there. And that just goes to the disjointedness of the script. I think there were a lot of ideas in this movie that could have worked, but it couldn't and it wouldn't. Besides the tense moments, there's a lot of, like I said, sexism early on in the movie, especially with the way the soldiers talk to her in such a manner that, goddamn people, every other character in this movie is, to quote a statement I made earlier, everyone in this movie is an asshole, except for Miss Marta and the baby. Genuinely. And I think that's part of the problem is, while I completely understand the need to put adversity in front of her, you don't need to make every character against her. The Gremlin would have been enough, so let me go from a negative to a positive. I actually really like the Gremlin, and I like the idea. I liked that the movie opened with that cool, throwback World War II cartoon. And I like the overall idea of a Gremlin, fucking with a World War II plane. And I think it could have been a more integral part. Have the Gremlin be the main villain of the story. Take out the abusive husband aspect of it and simply make it, hey, this female gunner is going to have to take control of this plane because these idiots aren't listening to her and this Gremlin is literally going to kill them all. And to that point, does this movie experiment with, I don't want to say toxic feminism, but more or less it's trying to beat people over the head with the idea. And I want to be very clear, I'm not against the idea of a feminist movie. I'm not against the idea of a strong female protagonist. We've seen it done before, and often they're very entertaining films. I argue that the execution in this particular film was not what it could have been, and I think that's the most disappointing thing of this movie. Anyone that knows this channel or that has ever followed me with any list that I do or anything like that, my biggest issue with the movie is always wasted potential. It could have been better, and this is how it could have been. The overall message of a strong female protagonist could have been great in this film, except why did they keep wasting when they could have done it? You know what I mean? It's kind of like saying the word fuck. If you use it all the time and you beat people over the head with it, it loses its power. But if used correctly, it's a very powerful thing. Same thing with this and the overall message of feminism. It's very clear how to have a strong female character. You just have her be a strong female character and surround her with characters that, maybe question her, but you don't have to make them complete douchebags about it. Make her their leader. And when they follow her, it sends the overall message, oh, hey, I learned from my ways. The effects are okay in this movie at certain parts. It's hit and miss. And again, that goes to the mixed bag. The Gremlin, to me, I understand. It looks like a schlocky or, like a throwback B-movie creature feature. Like, I understand. But I still like it. I really do like the Gremlin. I like its design. I like its presence. I like what it overall does to the movie. It just presents like this monster that's trying to fuck with them. And again, I'll go to that later. Another thing I really like was actually the score. I like the whole synth. I think that's the right phrase. The synth score that they're using. It has a bit of a throwback vibe, kind of like the Stranger Things, which I understand is not present in World War II. I understand it's not time current or time accurate. But who gives a shit? When you're knowingly watching a World War II creature feature, the score, don't be mad about the score. It sounded awesome. Like, why do you need that to be time accurate, if for any reason? But yeah, so overall the concept of the film is great, but it's executed so poorly. And for that, I can't in good conscience really recommend this film. This movie's so disappointing because, again, it could have been better. Personally, the way I would have executed it would simply have her actually be a female air officer, actually have her be a part of the Air Force. Everyone doubts her and she, shuts them up. Maybe the part where she's in the gunner on the bottom, maybe have that last 15-20 minutes and she does spot the enemy and she does shoot them down. Have her, take that part and be like, oh, fuck, like she was really telling the truth. Like, and they're starting to listen to her. And then from that point, say like, she saw a gremlin on the plane, but treat them seriously. Say like gremlins haven't been out this far or whatever. Give us, because bear in mind, in these movies, you set the stage, you set the tone for the audience. Maybe make gremlins an actual thing, like, oh fuck, like there's a gremlin on the plane, we're screwed, we're gonna go down. Because gremlins are known to actually exist, and in World War II, like have them be like, wait, no, I did this, there's no way there's a gremlin on the plane. And have them follow her. At one point, she makes a compelling argument. Like, I have flown over 200 hours, in a civilian plane delivering mail, no backup, me by myself in my plane. How many of you fuckers can say that? And have that make something. Like, instead of them laughing at her, be like, oh, fuck, I guess she's the next, highest ranking person. Maybe make it to where the captain dies early on because of the gremlin, and now she's the next highest ranking officer. Maybe make it like that. Maybe make the package, I wouldn't make it a baby. Make it something that actually matters. Maybe something top secret. Something that's actually legit, that maybe existed in the real world. Maybe a message, something on the Manhattan Project or something like that. Plans. Something along that lines. Or hell, maybe make it D-Day invasion plans and say, like, this is the only copy that we really have and we need to get it straight to the front line now. And, include that. And just base this a little more in reality. Have her, over the course of the film, be a strong female character, gaining the respect of the other airmen, and them saying, you know what, I'd follow you to hell. And keep the part where the plane crashes and she fights the gremlin toe-to-toe. I'd keep that. Yeah, it was a little cheesy, but you know what? Fuck it. If you're going to go that way, go all the way. Pour the Swiss on there, goddammit. And again, I think that's the most frustrating thing, is that this film should have been better. Overall, the way they give it to us, the positives are really the score. I like the Gremlin, and I like Chloe Grace Moretz, but besides that, I can't really recommend this film for any other reason. The supporting characters are all douchebags, the effects are aight, and the story is so all over the place. Overall, I'd have to give this film like a D-. I would not recommend it. If you want to judge for yourself, by all means, go watch it. But if you got $15-$20 to blow, I wouldn't recommend this film. Go watch something else. Anything else. Well, sorry about that. So, if you're listening to us via podcast, please like and subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it, obviously. Leave a review, maybe. We'd appreciate any kind of feedback. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Again, we'd greatly appreciate it. We're trying to grow this little podcast thing of ours. If you want to hear any more of our thoughts about movies, go to therollback.net. Or, you can always go back and listen to some of our older podcasts if you want to listen to them. We have newish movies. We have older movies. And we'll be seeing you all soon. My name was Eddie, and this was The Rollback.